Hey there, it's Dr. G, here to talk to you about sports psychology and why it's important to have a sports psychology consultant on your payroll. So the word of the month in sports seems to be frustration. Everybody's talking about frustration. The feeling of being upset or annoyed, especially because of something you cannot change or something you cannot achieve. In other words, losing. Okay? Everybody's been there. Nobody likes it. Don't care if it's sports, board game, cards. Nobody likes to lose. So, frustration is a natural emotion. Why the media is losing their minds over these athletes showing frustration, I'm not sure. Their feelings are valid. They may be showing them inappropriately. Okay, we can talk about that. But their feelings are absolutely valid. We got Draymond Green punching his teammate Jordan Poole. Devonte Adams slamming his helmet, pushing the photographer. Robbie Anderson arguing with his coaches and being ejected from the game by his own people. And even Tom Brady, the golden child, went off on his offensive line. And for the first time ever, I have to agree with Stephen A. Smith. There can be things going on mentally and emotionally with these guys off the field that we have no idea about. You compound that with a loss or an injury or anything like that, and yeah, they're going to be frustrated. They have every right to be frustrated, okay? Let's talk about Devonte Adams just as an example, because for some reason, he's still coming up as though he did something totally out of the ordinary. Okay, he lost a game by 1 point. That doesn't feel good. That doesn't sound good. And I watched the game, so I know how hard he tried. So that sucks that he lost the game. And the last catch that he made was ruled incomplete. None of that feels good. So he gets off the field, he slams his helmet, and then he pushes a photographer. But let's talk about that. The photographer jumped in front of him, just about bumped into him if you watch the video over and over from different angles. And Devontae's natural reaction was to push back because he was trying to get space. He just wanted a moment to process his feelings. And guess what? He has a right to do that. Okay? So I fault the photographer on that one. Back up, give the man space. You know he just lost the game. Don't do that to people. Why would you do that? And Devonte apologized almost immediately, but you don't hear that part until you hear how he acted out, and then you get a semicolon. Oh, but he apologized. Of course he did. That's not who he is as a man. He was pissed, people. Pissed, and he had every right to be. I didn't see any of his teammates walk off the field throwing a party because they had lost. Okay. He was a little bit more demonstrative than other people. So what? He didn't hurt anybody. But that's the problem. We forget. These guys are people first, okay? They have feelings, y'all. They have feelings. Granted, they only get about 2 words to describe those feelings because we do not, as a society, encourage men to talk about feelings. Now, let's own that. We do not accept hurt, afraid, anything weak sounding, okay? So they end up with good or mad, usually. And we accept that until they live in a fishbowl and we want them to act the way that we think they should act, forgetting that they're human beings who have feelings. Just like they can get broken bodies, they can get broken feelings. They are not robots. They respond, they react to what is happening. Just like they celebrate a win, they get pissed off with a loss. That makes total sense. Why should they be expected to react any differently than anybody else? That's not fair. That's not fair. You can't ask them to switch their feelings on and off like a light switch. That's not fair to ask of anybody. They're no different as athletes. They cannot switch it on and off like a light switch. But that is where having a sports psychology consultant like me comes into play, because people noticed that Devonte was upset. They noticed, like, hey, man, that's not a good look, right? But what happens after that? When he goes in the locker room, again, guys don't necessarily talk about feelings. We don't raise them that way. So he goes in the locker room. Somebody could have said, hey, let's go talk it out. Let me call Dr. G, get her on the phone, and y'all talk it out before he leaves the stadium. Because one of two things is going to happen, right? At an away game, he's going to go to the hotel and do what? Ruminate, stay in his head, replay the game over and over and over. That doesn't make you feel better. That keeps you upset. That keeps you frustrated. If it's a home game, he gets his keys and he gets behind the wheel of a car and goes home. Guess what? He is still pissed. He is still pissed. So reactions can be different. If you have a sports psychology consultant available, these guys can process their feelings. They can talk it out before they even leave the stadium. It's simple. It is real simple. I'm only a phone call away. I don't have to be sitting right there. I got FaceTime. I got Zoom. I got plain old phone calls. I would have been more than happy to talk to Devonte. I would have been happy to talk to Draymond Green, Tom Brady, Robbie Anderson, any of them, because they needed to process what they were feeling, because they had every right to feel it. But when you don't have somebody to talk to, what are you supposed to do? You can stuff it, but eventually the top of that container is going to blow off. And it usually happens at a pretty bad time. So we wonder why these guys get involved in bad relationships, domestic violence, substance use and abuse. Because if you don't have anywhere to put this stuff, sometimes you just want to shut it down. Because sometimes it's just too much. And sometimes it's unintentional, but it's bubbling right at the surface. We have got to do a better job of giving them a place and a space to process what they are feeling. We have got to do a better job, y'all. We have got to do a better job. They need it. They deserve it. They play hard. And they feel hard, just like us. Don't forget that. They are human beings, not robots, not superheroes. They live in a fishbowl where their whole lives are scrutinized and judged and talked about, especially when they make a mistake. But if nobody gave you a second chance, you'd be shit out of luck, wouldn't you? So, can we get off their backs maybe? Can we let them have their feelings? Can we accept their apology when maybe it's expressed inappropriately? And can we just move on and say, wow, he's human and he made a mistake? But I'd have been pissed too. Can we do that for these guys? Y'all call me. I'm here to talk to you. 678-612-4815. That's how serious I am. That's my cell phone number, 678-612-4815. Dr. Michael-Renee Godfrey, sports psychology consultant, loves football, and really admires the fact that you guys give it all on that field. And then it gets quiet when you're off the field. I care. A lot of people care. We're not here to judge. Call me. I'm here if you need me. Just call me. Y'all take care.